every time I didn't win, um, I would go back and try to grow as an actress and to get better, to be better and better and better and better.
Welcome to At the Heart of It. Welcome to Season 2 of At the Heart of It. I'm Nancy Brown, CEO of the American Heart Association. You know, actress Julie Andrews once said, "Perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding on the 20th." Well, my next guest knows a thing or two about perseverance.
Making a dramatic difference, one scene at a time. Meet Susan Lucci, best known as the powerful Erica Kane on hit soap opera All My Children. For over 40 years, she shined and brought the drama into the homes of millions. 2 words can describe Susan: perseverance and dedication. After being nominated 19 times for a Daytime Emmy Award, she finally won in 1999.
The streak is over, Susan Lucci!
Although she had to encounter many battles as Erica Kane, Susan also had to fight a personal battle. After receiving 2 stents placed in 2018, Susan joined the American Heart Association as a national ambassador with the Go Red for Women movement. And this is just a portion of Susan's amazing story. Today, you'll learn more about what motivates her and how her story can impact yours.
Susan, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'm delighted to be here. Congratulations on your show. This is wonderful.
Well, thank you. And I know you're such a good sport, so get ready because it's time to play my signature 5.
Okay.
Okay, Susan, tell us, what is the last TV show you watched or streamed?
Yellowstone. I love Yellowstone. I'm so sorry it's not coming back for a while. It's coming back, but not until a little bit, well, actually pretty soon now.
Oh, I love it too. Oh, what an incredible body of work.
Oh, fantastic.
How about the last great meal you had?
Oh, lucky me. I mean, probably yesterday. I mean, yeah.
Okay. How about the last song you listened to?
He's a great cook, and we go out a lot to wonderful places. So yes.
Excellent. How about the last song you listened to?
Oh, I have such an eclectic taste in music. I love so many things. Actually, what I was just listening to was the original cast album of South Pacific.
Oh,
and I had seen the Lincoln Center production, and it just blew me away. And wow, Rodgers and Hammerstein were so ahead of their time. And it's Sondheim music, so fantastic.
Oh, beautiful. Susan, what is your superpower?
I wish I knew, Nancy. I don't have a superpower. I don't know. Maybe just that I have a lot of energy. Maybe that's true, that I care a lot about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't.
You have a lot of energy for sure, and you have a huge heart. So I agree with those being your superpowers. Susan, what was your first job?
I knew I wanted to be an actress. I mean, I've known that since I was a little girl, but I had to figure out how I could go make rounds and meet agents and get auditions while still working. And so I thought, if I work as a temporary employee, I can run out on my lunch hour and no one will care. And I'm temporary anyway. So I took a job as temporary at a grout factory.
Oh, my.
Yes. I was in the offices in New York City, so I could run around and do auditions at the time.
Shoot, I thought you were making grout. I was going to say, now there's a side of you we didn't know.
Frankly, I didn't even know what grout was. And they put me in an office. It was very bare because I didn't work there all the time. And I had to answer the phone. And I'd say hello, and they would ask, and I'd say blah, blah, grout factory. And they would ask me questions, and I would say, one moment, please. And I'd run to the next office where there were women who worked there all the time and ask them the answer to the question.
Oh, that's a great story. I bet you had the lovely, welcoming voice, though. So I'm sure it served them well and sounds like it served you well. You know, Susan, you have lived a storied life. People, including myself, still identify you with Erica Kane, who was such a powerhouse personality. What would surprise people to get to know about the real you, not the Erica Kane you?
The real me, and certainly this was even more so when I began as Erica Kane, is that truly I have battled shyness my whole life. And working as Erica Kane and then being thrust into the public eye really has helped me with that tremendously. But it's been a process. And I mean, honestly, when your mother used to send you out to play and you were 3 years old, the times have changed, but it was a very sweeter time to grow up. And we lived in a neighborhood with a lot of children, and my mother kept wanting me to go outside and play with the other children, and I was too shy. So actually one summer day, and this makes my mother sound really horrible, and she wasn't, but she locked me out. I mean, I remember banging on the screen door. And my mother's mother, who lived with us at the time, was saying, you can't lock her out. She's a little scared to go to play with the kids. Anyway, I did go down, I played with the kids, and I had a really good time. Not the first day, but after that I did. And anyway, it's been a real process for me. I still battle with it sometimes, but it's much better than it was.
Well, you hide it well, let me tell you. Both you, Susan, and Erica hide that well. You know, you've described Erica Kane as one of the most important female roles ever on television. And I can just say, as a young woman growing up, being addicted to your show and to you as an actress, absolutely, I learned a lot about powerful women from watching you. But tell us from your perspective why you see Erica as being one of the most powerful female role models ever on TV.
Well, to begin with, as an actress, she was such a wonderful, complicated character and so rich in detail. And it was one of the best parts ever written. I have always felt that and still feel that way. In terms of important, I didn't realize it at the time. To me, I was being cast as a modern day Scarlett O'Hara. And I was really happy about that because I loved Scarlett O'Hara. And what I didn't realize is that as naughty as she was and as fierce as she was, what people really, really identified with and saw was her determination, the powerful side, that she would not take no for an answer, that she had her goals set and she was going for it. To me, that was normal. I mean, I went to a women's college, and my good friends, I'm still very good friends with all my college girlfriends. We all had careers. Our conversations were more about what we wanted to do, not if we could go and do it. We were always going to have our lives. And I think it was my generation. I mean, we weren't the first. There was a generation ahead of me, as there always is a generation ahead who lays the groundwork, who takes the chances. But when you're in that generation and you're 20 years old, you don't think you're taking any chances. You just know what you want and you go for it. What I didn't realize at the time was that a lot of women were seeing that you didn't just have to toe the mark and be the cliche just because you were born female. As I said, to me, that just seemed normal. My father always encouraged me to get the best education I could. And then what was I going to do with it? I needed to dream my dreams and go and pursue them. And what I didn't realize is that it's a matter of timing too. It was a time where my generation was, I started playing Erica when she was a 15-year-old high school girl. And so suddenly I was being asked by women's magazines to be interviewed about the women's movement and about being strong. And at the time, I remember being asked, how is it that Erica is so strong and yet you are so feminine and she is so feminine? How do you make that work? And to me, I didn't see a dichotomy. I just said, well, yes, you can be what you want to be. You can do what you want to do. And one doesn't cancel out the other. I remember being on the book tour, and it was actually a man who said this to me. He said, Susan, they tell us that cotton is the fabric of our lives, but really it's all my children.
It's so true. And it's good that there was a man who admitted that he was watching All My Children, because many men, and younger men and older, were as addicted to All My Children as I was, my sisters, and my mother. And Susan, you use the word determination and going for what you want in life. Perseverance is another word that I think you demonstrate personally, and certainly Erica Kane demonstrated. You were nominated for a Daytime Emmy 19 times, and you finally won. That is amazing. What did you learn from that experience, and how did it impact you personally?
Well, every year when I was nominated, of course, I was very honored, truly, and thrilled to be nominated. There were a lot of very talented people in the arena, and when I didn't win, I couldn't ever take away anything from those who had won, because I had seen their work too, and their work was really, really good. And so what I would go back and try to grow as an actress, and to get better, to be better and better and better and better. Then when nomination time came, I would get whipped into a frenzy, and I was thrilled to be nominated. And then became that process. Then came that process, because you had to choose. The rules changed over the course of time, but in the beginning, you had to choose one scene. I mean,
Oh
Erica was
my.
a very busy character. Yuck! How could I find a scene that represented my work for the year? But everybody was under the same program, so you just went with it.
Speaking of picking a scene, this fact was brought back to me, and I knew it, but I forgot it, that Erica was married at least 11 times. Oh my gosh. And yet you have been married to your same wonderful husband, whom I've met for over 50 years. That is incredible. Congratulations. And tell us, what is your secret sauce?
Well, first of all, the number is so big, it takes my breath away. And I'm thinking, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah,
You're only 50. How could you be married 50 years, right?
exactly. Well, Helmut is the secret sauce, honestly. His sense of humor, he's smart, he's charming, he's talented. I mean, what's not to like, and he's handsome, and, all those things. But we've grown together too. I mean, he's been with me. I think wanting to stay married is to each other is also part of it. I think COVID taught us all very quickly, if we made the right choice. I did.
Yes. Yes.
Got all in together. But we grew together too. But I think some of that is also desire to grow together, rather than stay away for long periods of time. When we were raising our children when they were little, and we made a pact that we would not be apart as a family for more than 6 days, which was kind of like a week. And so my husband was so great. He would bring the children to me wherever I was working. He would take the children. They saw every amusement park in this country. He was real participant. I mean, plus he was handling all the business aspects of the show business coupling. But he never let me down. He was never disappointing. His sense of humor continued. He still makes me laugh. All those good things. I think the shared experiences help you grow together rather than having everything be so separate. It just felt so right from the beginning. We never stopped talking to each other. We were on the same page about the big things in life.
I love that. That's incredible, and nice that it was affirmed during COVID. So all that time together, I think for all of us is like, okay, yeah, did we pick well or didn't we? Longevity, I think, is another word that I could use to describe you, Susan. So not only have you been married for over 50 years, people don't stay on jobs for 40 years anymore, especially in entertainment. What do you think are the pros and cons of staying in one place for such a long time?
Well, I used to go into the studio in the morning, and my inside voice, I was singing. I was so happy. I loved what I did. But I did kind of reevaluate every so often, because I was aware that I was there a long time, but the show had a long run. A lot of shows don't have a run that's long anymore either. So I was very happy, and I recognized that I had this extraordinary part. And so I was constantly being challenged and happy, and loved who I worked with on every level. And so those were good things about it. Also, the storytelling part, the actual material that we were given, first of all, it was Agnes Nixon. I was in the best of hands. But you can tell a nuance. It's nuanced storytelling when you're in 5 days a week, an hour each episode in people's homes. I guess the downside, well, in my life, the plus was that I could stay in one place and raise my children in a town that had a lot to offer for their education and for the community, the sense of community. So also everybody delivered, the butcher, the dry cleaner, the grocer.
Excellent. We love that. That's good.
So there were a lot of pluses to be in that same place for me. I did used to say to myself, has anyone noticed that I've been here for 25 years? That we've all been here for 25 years? Has anyone noticed that? But they noticed and they loved it, and the audience wanted more. So that was a real plus. But that's because it was it was Agnes, with such good storytelling, such good casting, and that still takes place. That's when everything works and you can just fly.
We talked earlier about COVID. What did you learn about yourself during COVID, and did it change the way you thought about approaching your work? Do you have any lessons you could share with us?
Well, I think all of us learned to be patient. I think all of the hygienic things that we did. My mother was a nurse, so I was very lucky not to have a loved one succumb to COVID. So I appreciate the horror that it must have been for a lot of people. But for me, not going through that, not knowing if it would happen, of course, I enjoyed the pause, I have to say. I had spent my entire adult life feeling like I was shot out of a cannon. And it's important for people to have downtime, to be able to use your imagination and let your imagination run free, and to listen to music and to sit in that chair you wanted to sit in. And so for me, I really was happy for the pause. It was wonderful my mother was in assisted living in Florida, where I believe it's an art form. They've had an aging population for decades. I wish it were that way. We're here, everywhere in the country. I wish it could have been the same.
Yeah, I agree. It's so much loss and so many things that I think each of us gain personally, more of an inner sense of ourselves, right? And what matters in life and how important loved ones are, and that chance to stop and reflect. What is about maintaining health and vitality? And I think during the pandemic, hopefully people had a chance to think about how they ate and exercised. And, for so many of us, you are always the iconic picture of beauty and grace. Do you have any secrets for us?
One thing, I did stick to my Pilates, and that was almost every day. And that is for me, a total sense of well-being. Whatever exercise makes you happy and gives you the results you want. I think it's really important to keep up with those. And we don't always want to do them every single day. Whatever regimen works for you, I really encourage to keep that up. I will say this: I think all of us get a certain gene pool, and I was very lucky to get that from my parents. And then it's up to us to take good care every day. What I did see as a little girl, I still remember seeing my mother take good care of herself. And she always did. And she believed in prevention, in terms of health. She didn't exercise. That generation didn't do Pilates and yoga and Peloton. They didn't. But she watched what she ate, and she was well aware of prevention. And so that translated to me. And I think during COVID, all those good things stood me in good stead, especially because my husband was cooking so amazing. And I mean, goulash with hot buttered noodles. Are you kidding?
Oh my goodness. Yes, things you only dream of eating. Good thing you were still doing your Pilates.
Exactly. Twice some days.
Yeah, just to make sure. Susan, we first had the opportunity to meet after your heart scare that happened. Tell us what happened and how has that changed your life?
Without going into all the details, I mean, I had always had wonderful checkups. The doctor would write excellent, great on my report. And my mother just passed away at 104 years old, and she really had not been sick. And we all thought because I've been healthy the whole time, that I had all my mother's genes. And it turned out that I was out one day at a boutique getting a birthday present for a girlfriend, and I felt this pressure on my chest radiating around my rib cage to my back, and I couldn't ignore it. And the manager came over to me and asked me if I was okay, and I said I was trying to assess that, and I told her what I was feeling. She said, "Susan, my car's right outside. Why don't I drive you to St. Francis Hospital, which is the heart hospital?" It was a mile away. I was so lucky. I was also lucky because, unbeknownst to me, that store manager, who I had known for years shopping in her boutique, had a degree in nursing. So she was very calm. I had no reason to have a cardiologist, but my husband has AFib, so I called his cardiologist at St. Francis, told him what I was feeling. He said, "Meet me at the ER. Your symptoms are substantial." Um, I have always worked out. I do eat for the most part when it's not COVID in a very healthy way. And my symptoms were gone by the time I got to the ER. And I was so afraid that I had taken the doctor away from patients who really needed him. I was thinking, oh, he'll think I'm overreacting. I'm being too dramatic. Anyway, he did a CAT scan and on me, and much to all of our surprises, I had a 90% of my main artery, 75 in my adjacent artery. He said he could fix it. He would put stents in, and he could do it that night, which he did. And so I went into the operating room around 9 o'clock that night. It turns out that I didn't have all my mother's genes, that this was not a cholesterol blockage. This was a calcium blockage. And that, in fact, is what my dad had. I was discharged by noon the next day. I did not have a heart attack. They said by listening to my body and going to the hospital, I had avoided having the widowmaker. Had I been home and not out, I probably would have just thought, oh, I need to drink some water and lay down. In terms of how it's changed my life, I mean, my husband said, forget the kale. Now you can go right to cheeseburgers. Because obviously kale didn't stop you from this issue, but it's calcium, and there's very little a person can do about that. But you're telling your doctor your heart history, your family history is very important. I don't think I ever even mentioned that to anyone because it just didn't seem to apply. My dad was a heavy smoker. He smoked Luckies at that time, no filters. So I didn't think to tell my family history. That's an important thing. I think the other thing is for women to take yourself seriously in terms of your health. Don't ignore it. Put yourself at the top of your to-do list, and don't be afraid that the doctor will not believe you. He may not believe you, because I hear from other women. I've had, actually, Nancy, the great opportunity to work with you and the American Heart Association, Go Red for Women, and I've met a lot of women through this program who are heart survivors, as I am. A number of them have said how they had to really convince the doctor to give them a test or to take them seriously. I think that's changing now, largely because of the work that you're doing with Go Red for Women and American Heart, and now women's heart health is being more researched. And I think women are going to find more doctors really understanding that they have to take their feelings about their heart and what they're experiencing seriously. They should also not be afraid. Not be afraid. What can happen? You make a mistake. The doctor would be very happy to tell you you've made a mistake.
Absolutely.
Go home, So
Well, you have been such a powerful voice, and we hear from women all the time who have heard your message about listening to your body, knowing yourself, and it's impacted really the health and well-being of women who have taken their symptoms seriously and fortunately got to the emergency room in time, just like you, Susan. So thank you for impacting so many lives. That is a legacy that you are leaving right now to so many women. And when I think about legacy, I also think about your dear mother, who I know just recently passed away at 104. That is an incredible life, an incredible legacy, a horrible loss for you, I know. When you think about the span of time you had together over so many years. Did she have any great advice that she gave you, or one piece of advice you might like to share with us?
She would always say to me, have fun, have a good time, honey. And we were, I mean, we were very close. And so there was lots of shopping and fashion, and she had a great eye and a great design eye. And I was so appreciative of that. But when I turned 60, I was having a very hard time with that. And I called my mother. I said, Mom, how did you do that? And how do you go forward now? And there was a pause, and she said, well, I just don't think about it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Now that is good. That is good advice. Age is a state of mind, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
And
it.
I think it's really important for us to be our own best friend. Don't assume that everybody looking at you is suddenly saying, oh, now she's
Now
this age.
she's 60. Yeah.
Oh, terrible. Don't assume that. Just be yourself and continue to grow and enjoy your life.
I love that wisdom that you're leaving us with, Susan. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. You are an incredible, relentless force, and we appreciate all that you do. Thank you for giving us an inside glimpse to your wonderful life, and thank you for all you do for women and for all of us to keep us happy, healthy, and joyful. We are so grateful to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to tell my story to women in the hopes that it might help at least one woman out there, even one woman out there. And it's because of you. And I thank you so much. You talk about a relentless force. That's you, Nancy Brown.
Well, we're relentless together. How's that? Thank you, Susan. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. I always find it so incredible to talk to Susan, i.e. Erica Kane, because she is such an amazing person that has such wisdom that we all can learn from. I know for me personally, I loved when she talked about the longevity of her marriage to her wonderful husband over 50 years. And when I asked her how that came to be, she said because she has wanted to be married for 50 years. And that desire to make things work is something I think that's an important life lesson for all of us. And as a woman, I loved hearing her never doubt herself. She knew what she wanted to do. She never thought it wasn't possible. And she went for it. And look at the amazing career that she has had. Susan is a remarkable woman, and again, someone who is so inspirational to me personally. I would love to know what you took away from our conversation today. Please subscribe, comment, and share. I'm Nancy Brown. Thank you for joining in.
Next on At the Heart of It with Nancy Brown, living outside the box.
All you need to do is use what they think is a deficit, use that and turn it against them.
Hear how classic hip-hop violin group Black Violin are shifting societal norms and impacting their community. Next on At the Heart of It.